Hey everyone. Let's talk about the African Union, the so-called Shield of Africa. Born from the dream of Pan-Africanism, the AU was supposed to unite 55 nations, over 1 billion people, and protect the continent from harm. It has the trappings of power, a grand HQ, a flag, an anthem. But when crisis hits, is anyone actually home? Or is the AU just a club for presidents? On paper, it's Africa's voice and shield. In reality, it stands at a crossroads, powerful in theory, powerless in practice. Why can't it stop wars? Why does Africa still bleed while the AU watches? Let's look at the AU's track record. When civil wars erupt in Ethiopia or Sudan, or coups sweep West Africa, the AU's response is often silence, or slow, ineffective action. Take Tigray, a humanitarian disaster right in the AU's backyard, yet the response was quiet diplomacy. When coups hit Mali, Guinea, Burkina Faso, Niger, the AU's big move? Suspension. But that's just a timeout. Generals don't care. In Sudan, as millions are displaced, the AU holds meetings and issues statements of deep concern. But concern doesn't stop bullets or feed children. The pattern crisis explodes, the AU expresses concern, appoints a special envoy, then fades as the suffering continues. People on the ground are left wondering, where is our shield? Where is our voice? The promise of African solutions to African problems rings hollow when the solutions never arrive. It's a cycle of frustration and heartbreak. The AU's silence isn't just disappointing, it's dangerous. When the continent needs action, the AU is stuck on mute. So why is it so paralyzed? The first problem? Money. The AU doesn't fund itself. Over 60% of its budget comes from Europe and China. That means foreign donors often set the agenda, not Africans. If a crisis threatens a donor's interests, the AU treads carefully. It's hard to act independently when you're financially dependent. Leaders talk about self-financing, but the will to make tough sacrifices isn't there. So the AU remains on a golden leash, Africa's premier institution, but a junior partner in its own affairs. Until it breaks this cycle, decisive action will always be compromised. But money isn't the only problem. The AU is a club of heads of state, leaders more interested in protecting their own power than solving real problems. They make grand speeches at summits, then go home and silence dissent or change constitutions to stay in power. There's an unspoken pact, don't call out my abuses and I won't call out yours. This non-interference becomes non-confrontation. No one wants to set a precedent that could be used against them. The result? The AU roars in press releases but has no teeth. Lofty ideals are lost in cynical politics, leaving citizens disillusioned. Even if the AU wanted to act, its own rules tie its hands. The Constitutive Act allows intervention in grave cases, genocide, war crimes, but fiercely protects national sovereignty. So who decides what's grave? The same leaders causing the problems. Governments can brutalize their people and call it an internal matter, and the AU can't step in without an invitation or UN approval. The bar for intervention is set so high, it's rarely cleared. The AU is built to react, not prevent. By the time it acts, the damage is done. It's a structural flaw that leaves millions vulnerable. The AU isn't the only player. Regional blocs like ECOWAS, SADC, and EAC all have their own agendas. In theory, they're building blocks for unity. In practice, it's organized confusion. Instead of one strong voice, Africa has many divided ones. ECOWAS might threaten intervention while the AU urges caution, mixed messages that weaken Africa's position. Regional blocs compete, not collaborate, creating forum shopping and fragmentation. When Africa speaks with 5 voices, the world stops listening. The dream of a unified continent is fractured by the very structures meant to build it. It's like building a house where every brick wants to be its own wall. What's the real cost of all this dysfunction? It's not just diplomatic failure, it's a lost generation. Africa has the world's youngest population, but instead of opportunity, youth face war, unemployment, and forced migration. When the AU fails, it's young people who become refugees, child soldiers, or risk their lives crossing deserts and seas. Their dreams are crushed by instability and lack of opportunity. The AU was meant to build a future for them, but right now it's losing that future. The best and brightest are voting with their feet. An entire generation's potential is being squandered. It's a silent crisis unfolding every day. But here's the hope. The real story of Africa is its people, not its institutions. A new Africa is rising from the ground up. Grassroots movements, creators, and innovators are driving change. African music, film, and tech are building a shared identity and solving problems without waiting for the AU. Young people are connecting across borders, building the future themselves. This is Pan-Africanism in action. decentralized, digital, and youth-driven. If the AU won't lead, maybe the people will. The future of Africa isn't in a building in Addis Ababa, it's in the millions of connections forged every day. Now the new generation is realizing they are the ones they've been waiting for. The true African Union is being built from below. The AU holds the dream of a united continent, but that dream is slipping away. The question isn't just what is the AU doing, but what are we going to do? The energy for change is here, in the streets, online, in music and startups. Maybe the AU's role is to catch up to its people and become a true vehicle for their will. But that only happens if we demand it. What would a truly effective AU look like? Reform or revolution? Let's talk in the comments. Like, share and subscribe for more African voices by Africans for the world.